We're at the American Library Association annual conference speaking with Trudy Lindsey of Wiley Books. Can you tell us what some of Wiley's hot sellers are right now?
I think one of our best right now, and is a really important book, I think, is Saving Gracie, which is about how vile the puppy mill industry is in this country and how many, many good people all across the United States are doing something to eliminate it.
Are there any political titles that are selling well right now?
The Common Nonsense book by Alexander Zaitchik is kind of a take on the opposite view of Glenn Beck and some of the things that Zaitchik thinks he gets wrong.
And what would Rob do about?
What Would Rob Do is a very humorous take on Rob Sachs does a podcast for NPR, and he it's kind of like these interesting situations, and like what if you step in dog do? What would you do in that circumstance? Or what do you do if you show up at a party and you're not dressed appropriately? What kind of things should you cook for a dinner if you're having your girlfriend over for the first time? It's in many ways it's a guy book, but a lot of women might get some insight into how guys think. And he's a very amusing young man, so it's a very enjoyable book.
Now, the focus when Wiley started some 100 and so years ago was mostly on science. Is it still published a lot of science books?
Yeah, more than 200 years ago. We were founded when Thomas Jefferson was president. The focus, yes, was, well, kind of, that we had fiction at that time. We actually published Edgar Allan Poe. We published Herman Melville. But then eventually the company split off into two sections, and John Wiley and Sons took all nonfiction. And we went heavily into chemistry and engineering and architecture. And to this day, we are one of the premier publishers of those categories. But then about, I want to say around 20 years ago, thereabouts, maybe not exactly, we developed a trade division, and that is what we're talking about right now.
What are the upcoming titles for the trade division?
That's a rough one for me to answer because I tend to focus on what's going on right now. I know we do have, I just completed reading a book about Steven Spielberg's America, where they talk about how he was kind of going along with the zeitgeist and, how his movies reflect American culture, and was really, really interesting. I'm about to read a book all about the 1960s. We do publish a lot of those kinds of things, history and biography, and that talk about, essentially the reflection of America. Another one that I read that was really, really interesting is Financially Stupid People Are Everywhere. And although it can be somewhat rude, at the same time, the guy says, you know what, we've tried to say all this stuff nicely to you people, and you won't listen. And if you want to keep from going broke, you need to do some basic things. And he says exactly what those things are. It's a great book.
I know that Wiley is an international outfit, correct? So in the current climate where there are publishers that are folding left and right, how is Wiley holding up?
Oh my goodness, we just keep getting bigger and better. The Wiley family is still involved with the company. In fact, our board president is one of the direct descendants, and two of his sons are now actively joining the company and getting involved. Very strong company. We have merged recently with Blackwell Publishers out of the UK, which just made us even bigger. We have offices in Singapore and Australia and in Germany, and we're not going anywhere for a long time.
And can you tell us anything about the Wiley Foundation?
The only thing I really know about the Wiley Foundation is that Deborah Wiley herself is in charge of that. They do look very carefully at charitable donations and try very hard to be a good citizen of the world.
Do you know, is the focus still on scientific trying to fund scientific research, or?
Yeah, we do fund scientific research, but we also do things like we donated heavily to Haiti and to Katrina victims and those kinds of things. So it's expanded to include a lot of things.
Thank you very much for your time, Trudy.